Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's College Football Top 10 2024. And so today I'm going to give you my top 10. In this top 10, it's going to change from last week. In week two's top 10, there was a lot of exciting games and very exciting upsets and exciting blowouts and everything. I just love everything about this college football season, and it's going to get better week after week. So I hope everybody enjoy what they saw this week, this Saturday just passed, and going forward every Saturday until the season ends. So I want everybody, if you out there listening to me, chime in, make a comment, make your top 10 before I even get started. I want everybody to express their opinion. And don't forget to push that like button, subscribe button, and share this show today. So everybody, I just thank you for just being a good college football fan in general. I know everybody's like, get to this top 10. So without further ado, I'm going to get to this week's week 3, 2024 top 10, my top 10 teams that I think is the best in the nation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the first 5 teams, pause, give you some reflection on why, and then I'm going to go to my second all the way to my number 1 team. So thank you again for coming in to the chat with me. Anybody just now getting to the chat, I said before, I want you guys to make your top 10, your list, who you think is the top 10, and put it in the comment section. So here's I'm going from number 10 to number 1, but I'm going to stop at number from 10 to 5, and then I'm going to go from 5 on down to my number 1. So my first on the top 10 is, I'm going to turn around so everybody can see. Okay, if you can't see, my first is Oregon Ducks, is number 10. And then the Tennessee Vols is my number 19. And my number 18 is Miami Hurricanes. Number 17 is the USC Trojans this week. And then my number 16 is the Penn State Nittany Lions. And then my number 5 team is the Ole Miss Rebels. So from 10, Oregon, 9, Tennessee, 8, Miami, 7, USC, 6, Penn State, 5, Ole Miss. Now, before I get into, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Okay, my reasoning for those teams in those orders are, I feel that all of these teams from number 10 on down to the number 5 team, all of them are very talented Power 4 teams. And I feel that they perform very well from the first 2 games of the season. Some of them need a little bit of work offensively and defensively, like my number 10 team, Oregon, that everybody at the start of the season in the preseason they picked them to be number 3, and then they've been dropping since then. I still say Oregon is a very talented team, but I still say that they will have to improve a little bit. Some of the players that was injured didn't play in the game on the line. I think that they're going to get better and better, as for all the teams. And after like 1 or 2 weeks in the season, I think mostly all the teams is trying to get out the kinks from during the summer, during the preseason, during the summer, spring and summer. So I think it's going to be some kinks that mostly all the teams offensively and defensively has got to figure out and find out. But for the most part, these are some very powerful and talented teams. That's why I have them where I have them. Now, a few teams like USC and Miami, that wasn't in my top 10 before. They are now in my top 10 because two of my teams that I had in the top 10, which is Notre Dame and Michigan, dropped out of my top 10 because of the performances and losses, like Michigan lost to Texas at home, and then Notre Dame lost at home to FCS school, or a mid-level like a MAC school. So that's why I dropped both of them from my top 10. And then I added USC Trojans and the Miami Hurricanes because of their 2 weeks performances. So I'm going to get into my next 5 teams that I have in my top 10. And I'm going to explain to you after I mention them why I have them, where I have them at. So I'll bring it forward. These are the 5 other teams: Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas, Georgia, and Ohio State. So from number 5, Ole Miss, number 4, Alabama, number 3, Texas, number 2, Georgia Bulldogs, and number 1, the Ohio State Buckeyes are my number 1 team in the country. And Georgia right behind them. Strong number 2, Texas a strong 3, Alabama and Ole Miss round out the top 5. And all together, here is all of my top 10. As you can see right here. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my top 10, and I'm going to talk to you for a minute on the reason why I have Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, and Texas 3. They are tiers. And Alabama and Ole Miss is rounding out the top 5. So every week, the list is going to change. The top 10 is going to change according to how they play on the football field. So just because these teams are all in my top 10 this week doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way. It all depends on how they play on the field and also the scores sometimes, some of the games, and who they play. So that all matters to me. So this is my top 10, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Ohio State, number 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Alabama 4, Ole Miss 5, Penn State 6, USC 7, Miami 8, Tennessee 9, and Oregon is number 10. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my top 10 for this week, week 3 of the college football top 10 in 2024 college football season. And I just want to talk to you a minute about this before I get off. Getting speakers so everybody can hear me. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason why I have these teams the way I have them in my top 10 is because I feel that these teams, like I said earlier, show why they are the 10 of the most best college football teams going into week 3. And one last thing, the reason why I know the AP this week still has Georgia number 1, and then they moved up in one of the polls. The AP have Texas number 2 and Ohio State 3, and then the college coaches poll has Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, and Texas 3. But I feel, in my opinion, that sometimes a lot of the voters do an overreaction, and they don't have really that much time to make a decision on a game, so they make a quick overreaction decision. And that's why I'm glad that we have a 12-team college football playoff, because sometimes bias and subjectiveness gets into all of these predictions, and it really makes an impact on these teams going forward when it comes to the college football playoffs. So, but my reasoning, the way I choose my top 10, I don't overreact. I look at the games, I look at how they're playing, their competition, who they beat, and how well they beat them, how much they beat them by. All these goes into the equation on how I judge and make my top 10. The reason why I have Ohio State staying at my number 1 is because there hasn't nothing changed. In the first 2 games that they played, they was dominant. All the players that everybody in the nation thought that is going to explode on the scene and make an impact and be very good, they all performed in these 2 weeks. And I feel they're going to even get better. So in my opinion, they're going to stay my number 1 team, like I said before, until they prove to me wrong, which I don't think they will. But until then, they're going to stay my number 1 team. Now, Georgia is very, very good too. But I still say that Ohio State is a little bit more seasoned and talented. And I still say that although they didn't play like a Power 4 team like how Georgia did in Clemson, the 2 teams that they had to play, they handled their business. And they got a lot of weapons out there offensively that I know that it's a lot of games being played over these 2 games that everybody been looking at other games and everything. But from what I've been seeing, this Ohio State offense is explosive, better than last year's. And Will Howard is really reading the defense, really making these plays and throwing to second and third levels. And he's he's operating this offense better than what last year's Kyle McCord was operating it. He's operating it a little bit more, well, a lot more better. So this team this year is going to be very, very dangerous. And I'm not putting nothing down on Georgia or Texas, because both of those teams are both capable of being number 1 teams also. But I feel that right now, Ohio State has shown to me that they're the most talented, the most experienced, and most dominant team right now. And I think they will be for most of the season. So I just want everybody to give their top 10 in the comments, make a comment on my top 10 or make your own top 10. And I appreciate everybody for joining in today. And like I said before, I'm going to be doing my top 10 every week after the Saturday's games, like today on a Sunday between 2 and 3. I will be doing my top 10. So I appreciate everybody for chiming in, coming in to today's show. And like I said before, everybody, you guys are the best. And I want you to have fun, enjoy all the games from Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of the college football season, because this season doesn't last long. It'll be a way long off season from the spring all the way into the summer. And then only thing we have is to talk about recruiting. So now that all the games are here, it's exciting. And I want everybody out there to enjoy. And like I said before, push the like button, subscribe, and share this video. Make your comments. Give me your top 10s. Give me your comments on what you think about my top 10. And I want everybody to have a good day. And I will see you next week on a Sunday around this time between 2 and 3, preferably 3 o'clock. I hope you guys chime in every week during the season. And so from now, I want everybody out there to have a great day. See you again next Sunday.